Well, Happy New Year. Welcome to the Lisa at the Edge podcast. I am super excited and glad to have you on this episode.
Thank you. Yeah, it's awesome to be here. You've had a lot of really cool guests on, so hopefully I can live up to the potential.
Oh, you absolutely will. You've got an awesome story to share, and there's definitely a lot to learn from it. So the plan for today will be to discuss how you got into tech, which is the regular theme on this podcast, and share how you got into it. And we've when we were doing our prep, we found a funny connection that we both shared back in the gaming days. So we could
Yes.
talk about that. And then we're going to talk a little bit about IT pros and their journey with cloud and, to development. So whether that be becoming DevOps or an IT ops or
Yep.
how you bring that developer mindset in to the IT pro mindset in terms of using code and automating basically everything you can.
Yep.
And you've spent a lot of your time talking about that, blogging about it, videos, all sorts. So I know you've got some gems to share. So we'll have a discussion around that. And then also, so we prepped this before Christmas,
Yep.
but you have made some New Year announcements about your career and your change and going out
Yep.
by yourself. So I can't wait to hear all about those.
Yep.
That's going to be super interesting. I'm going to call this like what is it on the news? An exclusive. Is it?
You're hyping me up.
Yes, Lisa at the Edge exclusive. I'm so excited. Right, okay. Oh, I'm glad I found my energy. I swear I spent most of this week I just described myself on a call as I said I need to go and get myself ready for recording the first episode of the year because I currently resemble a troll. And I was like, I feel like a little troll that lives under a bridge that randomly pops up to shout about Azure Stack HCI. Like that. That is literally how I've spent my first week back at work. So I'm super glad I found the excitement, but it's because I love doing this. So I can't wait to hear your story and share your story. So we're going to kick off with how you got into tech and how you found your way into tech, because you were not into computers at all, right?
No, yeah. So it's actually funny. I think this is probably the first time that I'm saying this publicly. Kind of like what happened really. But
Yeah.
before I got into tech, I was a personal trainer. So you can't notice it now with my current state.
You also can't believe I was ever in a bodybuilding competition, Michael. We can
Yeah.
just move on.
That's actually crazy. It's super funny because we were talking about that during the prep, and like we both did it. I did more of like the powerlifting competitions and stuff, and you were, in the bodybuilding style competitions, which is crazy. I still work out. I work out like 4 or 5 times a week, but I go more for like my health and stuff. Like I still do bodybuilding style routines, but it's really more for me to just like get out there and do it versus trying to do a competition. I don't have time for that anymore, unfortunately. Maybe one day again. So I went to school for personal training, and even before that, I was always into fitness in high school and stuff. I played football. I threw shot put and discus for track and field. Did wrestling for a few years. Played baseball for a few years. So I was kind of like always into like sports and stuff, and I really enjoyed it. I even remember like Saturdays and Sundays was always, me and my friends and even new people all the time, going to the basketball court, playing basketball for hours. So it definitely wasn't something, I don't have that traditional, like I was programming when I was 7 type of thing. Went to school for that and kind of realized it just wasn't for me. I think I realized like a lot of personal training is about like helping people be able to move and kind of go about their daily lives and stuff. And as much as I loved helping people, I in my head I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get clients that like want to do bodybuilding and like want to train like that. But it wasn't the case.
Yeah,
So
so you weren't.
I was like, sorry, God.
Most of people who go for a PT is like general population. So,
Yep.
so you see it now online, right? You've got PTs who specialize in like bodybuilding and stuff, and then you've got
Yep.
PTs who sort of support that general population. And my friend ESG Fitness, shout out, Emma Story Garden. She does a great job at that. It's hard work. Like she supports her clients so well. But it really is about how to manage your calories, etc. with day-to-day life. Make sure you're moving enough. Make sure you're getting in the sort of right workouts. And that's a tough job. It takes a certain type of person to do that.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny though. You kind of always hear these stories like, hey, I didn't do this before, but it kind of helped me like transition into what I'm doing now. And that's kind of true, because one of the reasons why I wanted to be a personal trainer, obviously because I wanted to work out all the time, but the other one was because I wanted to help people.
Yes.
And that's what I'm doing now, you know, as an IT professional, with all my content and stuff. So even though it was completely different, a lot of that soft skill still, you know, merged into what I'm doing now. So I realized I didn't like it. This was like real early on. This was when I was like 18. I was like, nope, don't really like this. So I was like, you know, what can I do now? So I remember it was the summertime, and I don't even know why, but you know, I went to like my cousin's house one day, and he was super into this game called World of Warcraft, or WoW. And I was like, this is pretty sweet. Like I would like get on his computer, and like I didn't realize this at the time, but it was like a druid, and I would like transform into like, you know, a panther and like run around, or like a dolphin or whatever it was, and like swim around. Yeah, I was like, man, that's pretty sweet. So then I was like, how do I do this? How do I get onto this? So at the time, he was really big into tech and stuff, and he like built his own computers and everything. I never did this before. So I remember I went to Walmart and I got a Dell Inspiron 570 for, I believe it was like $500. It was this desktop. And, you know, I actually was able to install World of Warcraft on it, because, you know, later I realized that World of Warcraft graphics still and were not the best. So I was like, you could pretty much run this thing on everything. But I was like, you know, I kind of like want to make it look better, because I was playing at like low and medium settings. So I kind of just like started to Google around, and I was like, oh, like, I guess like I'll upgrade this thing called the RAM. I thought upgrading my RAM would make my graphics look better. It didn't. So then I was like, what do I do? Like, cause you know, reading more and more, it was kind of one of those things where I was like, well, you know, you're not building, you're not building a, you know, a custom rig. You're using like this like crappy, you know, Dell or whatever.
I must share what I played World of Warcraft on. So
go for it.
My little brother played World of Warcraft, and he then got right into building his own PC. So same thing, played World of Warcraft, wanted like better graphics, better gaming experience, got into building his own PC. I met my ex many moons ago, was like 2009, right? So, and I remember one of the first nights we were chatting, he was telling me about himself, and he was like, so I used to spend a lot of my time playing this game called WoW. And I was like, shit, do I tell him I know what that is? Right? Or like, is this like, I don't know how this is going to go. So I went, World of Warcraft. And he's like, oh my God, how do you know? So anyway, then it ended up like, he also built his own PC. And him and my brother used to play all the time. And then I would like join in on my like Sony Vio. It was like blue. Like I got it because it was blue and shiny. I would join in on my Sony Vio, and they would scream at me to like, I was a frost mage, loved it. They were like, here's your freeze. I was like, it's timed out. And then they would like look over and be like, no, it's not. And I'm like, yeah, because it's just come back. And then so I played for a good few years, and I haven't played since, because I've never had my own laptop since then. Like I've used work laptops, and obviously you can't download games on them, right? It was I think it must have been a year or two ago, though, my little brother got back into it. Nice. And I was able to play along on his PC, and it was so funny to see how we'd matured, because he actually spent time teaching me. Like it was honestly like a moment of, wow, you've really grown up, David. Like, because he was sitting saying, do this, do that, think about this, that. And honestly, when I was failing, he was like, it's okay, we can try again, do this time. And I was like, you're not a changed person. But yeah, that was my, and I'm thinking about getting my own machine now so that I can do editing videos and stuff. And I'm like, it's
Cool.
dangerous because will I end up back on World of Warcraft? Because then you'll never see me again.
So it's funny, probably like maybe like a year ago. You know, it was probably less because I think it was during the when the US was really bad with the pandemic and stuff. So it's probably less than a year ago. Well, the US is still bad with the pandemic, but we won't get into that. So when I first started, I think I like signed up for a subscription for a month, and I logged back in. And I logged back in for like maybe an hour or two, and I was like, nah. I was like, I can't do it. I was like, I have to play catch up so much, and it's one of those games where you can't just log in whenever you feel like it, like Call of Duty or something. It's got to be a hobby. Like it's got to be like one of your key hobbies where you're spending a lot of time on it.
Yeah.
And I just can't. I don't know.
No.
Like I could probably make the time, but I feel like I'll be sitting there like, you know, what am I doing with myself type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's funny. Like, I remember it was like maybe like 2 or 3 summers ago. I was dating this girl, and I realized that she played World of Warcraft too. So it was really fun. It only lasted like a month, but it was a fun month. So we played World of Warcraft.
It's
yeah.
actually brilliant. I swear, I think World of Warcraft was like actually do you know what was like one of the very last nails in the coffin of my relationship, along with many other that we will not go into. I mean, many, is League of Legends.
Oh yeah.
Oh my, like, no, I can't. I was just, I mean, things were bad. Things were very, very bad. But League of Legends, I was like,
no, that's it. That's a nail in the coffin.
I'm not coming second to League of Legends. Like, come on. No, like I am worth more than that. I mean, honestly.
Anyway. I'm laughing because it's probably funny now, but at the time it wasn't. So I do apologize.
No, and now hilarious. At the time, I mean, soul destroying.
Oh boy. So you probably see my dog shaking in the background, and you see this cone on her head because she just got fixed 2 days ago. So she's just not happy in general. So if you hear noises from her, I do apologize, but she's not pleased with me.
Anyway, so you started playing World of Warcraft. You got Adele and Spyron, and you're like, I need to make this run better.
Yeah. So, you know, I was like, how can I do this? So I ended up getting a new power supply for it. I ended up getting I think it was like a NVIDIA 570, I want to say. Got new RAM, you know, got a cool new keyboard, cool new mouse. And then I was like, you know what? I was like, I enjoy this. Like, this is like really cool, like going into the hardware and building stuff. And, you know, it was really cool. So then I decided to build my own desktop. And, you know, even before that, I made the decision to go to school for computer networking and security. So that was like a big major, you know, because I at the time I didn't want to do computer science. I was very against the idea of coding. I was like, I'm never going to code. I don't like it at all. So, you know, and this is before I didn't even know anything about it. I was like, oh, I'm just going to be typing words all day. This doesn't sound fun at all, in my ignorance. So I started to, you know, get into school for that. And one of the things that like always kind of stuck out with me was, I don't know why, I was just always in this mindset of like, I want to have a hobby that can turn into a career. So, you know, when I was playing sports, I was like, I want to go to college for sports. You know, when I was bodybuilding, I was like, I want to do competition. I want to do this full time and blah, blah, blah. Excuse me. So it was the same thing. It was like, yeah, I was like, this is a hobby, but it kind of seemed like something that it could be more. So when I was in school,
you wanted to align your career with your passion, right?
Yeah. And it's kind of like always been a thing. I don't even know why. Like I didn't learn it from anywhere. That's for sure. It was just something that was like always internal. So I was working. I remember I was in school Monday through Thursday, and I was working at a nutrition shop on the weekends. Getting paid a whopping $100 for the weekend, which was awesome at the time. Yeah, which was awesome at the time. And then, I started looking on, I remember I was looking on Craigslist, and like Indeed and stuff like that. I was like, it'd be real cool to get like a part-time tech job. So I sent out like 200 resumes. I don't even know what what it was at the time, because there wasn't anything tech on it. So
Oh, you should find
I
that.
wish it was like, I don't even know how long ago. So I probably, it's long gone. I should actually go through my old emails and see if I can find it, for whatever email address I was using at that time. So I was going through and I found this one for an IT consultant firm, and they were looking specifically for somebody part-time. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. So I went in, interviewed, somehow got the position. So at that time I was making a whopping $12 an hour, which was a big upgrade from $100 for the weekend. Cause I was working,
Yep.
20 hours a week. So my job was a field engineer, field technician, where I would go to different client sites and I would do things like maintain and upgrade their workstations. But a big part of what I was doing was Windows Server stuff. And I've never done anything with a server before. I really didn't know what a server was. So I was able to gain a lot of experience with that. And then, one thing led to another, and I graduated and I got a new job, and then just kind of built up from there. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, that was a really, we spoke about this in our prep, didn't we? It was like, that's a really lucky thing that you found that, but also at the same time, you had the mind to go and look for that.
Exactly.
And think this would work really well for me,
Yeah.
and it would be useful, and to go and just see what opportunities were out there.
Exactly. Yeah, it was very much like, I think to get your first job out of college, anything is like, there's always a bit of luck there, because there's a ton of people interviewing for, entry level positions. So, but yeah, like you said, it was also the simple fact that like, that's what I was looking for. Like, I wasn't like, oh, I'm just going to go work a retail job or something while I'm in school. No, it was like, I want to find an IT job. I want to get this experience while I'm still in school, which was awesome. Yeah.
And you weren't held back.
Right.
So like by the thought that I've not done anything.
Exactly.
I've not, it was an IT consultancy firm.
Yep.
And you didn't think, well, I've not done any of that, so I'm not going to apply. You just thought, it's part-time.
Right.
It's in tech.
Yep.
I'm studying that.
Yep.
I'm just going to go for it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And at the time, I was like, I'm going to get this job because like I built a computer, so I'm obviously a genius. So I was like, they got to hire me. Right. Later did I find out that nobody builds computers at work. So there was that.
Yes. So do we want to talk about where you are now? Because actually that might flow on quite well.
Yeah.
Or do we want to delve into that IT pro journey and which direction do you want to go in?
Yeah, we could definitely go into the journey. I'll keep it a high level because obviously it's been years. So, I'll kind of just tell about like the positions and stuff and like kind of what brought me to where I am now, which is a developer, a cloud developer. I say that I do cloud development and DevOps and stuff.
I should have asked you to introduce yourself at the beginning.
Nah, it's all good.
I completely forgot. Clearly, I'm just out of practice. We'll get there, people. You'll find out who Michael is soon.
So after that job, when I graduated, he offered me full time, but it was like 12,000 less than another company was offering me. So obviously took the other company. I got student loans to pay, and I probably will for the rest of my life. So I was, I took this job, and it was at a consulting firm where I was a junior systems administrator. So I was doing things like checking the backups in the morning, Active Directory stuff, helping users, all that stuff. I also dabbled a little bit into security there because I was actually training for it. I almost made the jump to the SOC, or the security operations department, where I was going to do more like cybersecurity stuff. But I decided not to make that jump. And if I did make that jump, I'm kind of curious where I would be right now. But so I was there for a little bit. And then I wanted to move up again. So I went to an internal corporate company, where I was a systems administrator, doing a lot of the same stuff, but at a higher level. I was, doing a lot of server stuff and a lot of virtualization and all that. And that is where I found PowerShell.
Yes.
So I had a boss at the time, my buddy Carlos. He's still a very good friend of mine. And it's funny because he was my boss there, and at a later job, I was his boss. So it was funny. So he taught me PowerShell. He's the reason that I got into PowerShell because I was at the same mindset where I was like, I don't want to write code. It looks dumb. So I was like, I don't want to do this. So he was like, it can make your life easier and it's fun. I said, all right. I said, I'll try it. You're my boss, so I guess I have to listen to you. So I remember the first line that I wrote, it was something for like getting a list of virtual machines running on Hyper-V. And I remember like running this code and I was like, I'm a coder now. I write code. So
I love code. Code is I want code in my life.
I'm a professional. So I was like, this is really cool.
Yeah.
So I bought PowerShell in a month of lunches. That's where my journey started. I remember every lunch period, literally, I was like, PowerShell in a month of lunches. I'm going to do this on my lunch break. I would go across the street. There was like this really cool cafeteria with like seats and stuff. I would like grab food and stuff and sit and eat real quick. And then the remainder of it, I would be reading and doing the hands-on labs at the same time because I'd have my personal laptop I always brought with me. So I did that, and then I got PowerShell tool making in a month of lunches, and then PowerShell scripting in a month of lunches came out. And then I think it was Jeff Hicks and Don Jones also wrote another one. Forget exactly what it was called, but it was PowerShell on LeanPub. Huge shout out to Don Jones and Jeffrey Hicks. They definitely changed my career, and I feel like they changed a lot of other people's careers as well. So at this point, I was like, all right, I know what I want to do. I was like, I want to write code. So at the place that I was working at the time, wasn't very open. So I was like, it's time to leave here. So I ended up getting another job. This was actually in the government sector, which was interesting. Quickly realized I did not want to work in the government sector. So
you want to move fast.
Exactly. If you want to move fast, don't go to government. But one thing
it's funny, right? Because the reason they don't move fast is because we don't go, like people like us, we don't go.
Yeah.
Because people go there and they get their morale dips and things aren't moving as fast and you're not seeing a change. And at the end of the day, actually government, public sector are like the places that need this kind of thing the most, right?
Yeah, I agree.
It's an interesting one. It'll be interesting to see how that develops over the future because
I absolutely agree. It's for me, if you want like a good pension and stuff, it's a real good place to be. But if you want to move fast, go somewhere else. So the really cool thing was I had like a ton of downtime all the time. So what I would do is literally every single thing that was done manually, even if they didn't use it in production, I was like, whatever, I'm going to do it anyways because I have all this downtime. Every single thing I automated, everything in PowerShell. Everything from the servers to literally, we had a whole bunch of Synology SANs, and Synology is awesome. Like it has like its own built-in Linux distribution and stuff, and it's really cool. It can connect to AWS S3 and Azure file shares and all that stuff. I was writing PowerShell code to manage the Synology NASs and to push files up to like S3 and Azure and all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, it was interesting. So literally everything I could do, I was automating. So this was when I started to hear more and more about the cloud. I had these two friends, which I'm still friends with to this day. I've been friends with them for 5, 6, 7 years or something, and we pretty much talk daily, I would say. And they were like, starting to learn about the cloud as well. And I was like, what is this? Should jump into it, blah blah blah. So this is when I started to dive into the cloud, and at the time it was AWS. AWS was way more popular than Azure.
Yeah.
So I started to search around, and I ended up getting a cloud engineer role. So I didn't really have any cloud engineering experience, but I went in and, I did the 5-hour interview and I showed them my passion. And that's a huge thing. If you could show somebody your passion, it's huge. So they ended up hiring me and I ended up learning, a lot of Linux and a lot of AWS. And I was pretty much spending 80% of my time, in AWS and learning all about DevOps and, reading the Phoenix project and reading the DevOps handbook and, diving into CI/CD and automation. And this is when I also picked up Python.
Okay.
So I was doing a ton of that. And then, my next role after that was DevOps engineer. I would think I was there for like 3 months and then I got promoted to a lead. So I was managing a team across the US and I was also still writing code. I would say it was like 80% technical, 20% management, give or take.
Yeah.
So I was there and stuff and I was doing all of that. And that's like when I really started to ramp up and start to create more content and really get myself out there and all that. And then it's kind of like fast forward to now, where just all of those tools that I've used, I realized that like I wanted to be a cloud developer. I wanted to go in, I wanted to do infrastructure as code. I wanted to do, infrastructure as software for like using a general purpose programming language to build cloud services and all that. And then even in that time, I also like wrote a few applications and stuff and did all that. But, I like writing code like for applications and writing software and stuff. But my sweet spot, what I really enjoy is like cloud development, writing code for different services and stuff like that. And automation and all that. So yeah. So moving up to now, I don't have a job anymore. So,
But by choice, right?
By choice. Yes. By choice. This was like the big announcement thing that you were talking about, and I put it on Twitter and stuff. And there's another announcement coming next week, which I can't talk about yet. Yeah, go ahead.
Depends, because right, what date is it coming? Because I won't publish this until after the date. If you want,
let me see. I think it's coming the 22nd. I think.
Because we can push this out to publish whenever we want.
We can. It's a good point.
Trust me. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. So yeah, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. It's fine. Yeah. So we'll keep in contact, and I'll let you know when that comes out.
And I will drop this only when you tell me.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's good.
So there's a few things.
Yep.
So the biggest one, I'll start off with the most exciting. I've been working with Mike Pfeiffer for a very long time. He's an Azure MVP, over 20 years of experience. I feel like everybody knows who he is. Really good guy. So I am officially a partner of Cloud Skills. So I own a portion of the company. So I am, my titles, whatever, partner and chief architect. So I'm going to be helping him run the organization, where we're going to be focusing, really heavily on real world DevOps and cloud native enablement, where, a lot of, thank you. Yeah. A lot of boot camps, I'm actually working on a boot camp right now for it. So we're going to be pushing hard on like that real world training. We're also going to be breaking into a lot of consulting. So, it's funny. I'm actually going to pick up my phone because I was writing a lot of notes, because I'm still trying to learn like the business aspect of stuff. And, Mike's really going to be focusing on a lot of the business, and I'm going to be focusing a lot of the architecture and stuff. So freelancing, and having your own business, you got to kind of pick a niche. And that niche has to be something that's, scalable, sellable, and in demand. I'm not a salesperson. So if somebody tries to ask me to sell something, good luck to them. I wish them the best of luck. But it's got to be something like you niche down on. So a lot of the things that I've been writing down is like, what can we niche down on at Cloud Skills? So cloud native DevOps, cloud native, enterprise cloud and DevOps enablement. And I really like the cloud and DevOps enablement. And then, I started to think about like where, what's that one sentence that explains what we do? Because if you can't explain what you do in one sentence, you got to niche down.
That's like me. I can't explain my role in one sentence. And my goal this year is to like get it down into like quite a short pitch.
Yeah.
But but you're right. You need to be able to have that one sentence that clearly articulates what you do and what's the value that you bring.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. That's the whole thing. So, I was really thinking about it. I was getting a haircut a few days ago, and I was sitting there and I was thinking, I was like, what is this? What do we do? So what I wrote down is I wrote Cloud Skills helps customers enable cloud native and DevOps practices without losing quality or efficiency. Boom. That's the whole thing. It is what we're doing is we're helping community members. We're doing content. We're coming in and helping you consult, all from a cloud native and DevOps perspective to enable your organization to move forward without losing quality and efficiency. So we want to make you move faster and enhance your quality. Yep. So that's really what I've been thinking about. So that's the big thing. I'm going out on my own. I'm running a company, which is cool. I love it. Luckily, it's really cool too, because I'm jumping in and running a company that is already established. Like Mike is already established.
That's a really cool opportunity.
Yeah, which is really, really cool. So I'm also going to be focusing a ton of video content on Skylines Academy. I'm recording a ton of AWS stuff as we speak. And then another thing, I'm going to be focusing on a lot is mentorship. So I've been having a lot more people reach out to me than usual, asking me like, how can I break into this? How can I do this? How can I do that? So I want to focus a key thing on mentorship, and I've been calling these really good blog posts. Shout out to Tom Hurst. Look up Tom Hurst Betting with Time, and he really goes into a lot of like, stop spreading yourself too thin, focus on a few things at once. Yeah. So what I'm calling these things for myself is I'm calling them avenues, and I'm focusing on 3 key avenues. I'm going down 3 avenues, and I'm going to drive down them for as long as the road allows me to. And then after that, I'll kick back and, see where things need to go from there. So those are my 3 key avenues. That's what I'm doing right now. It's exciting.
Cloud skills, writing content for Skylines, and then mentorship.
Yes. Yep.
I love it. Do you know what? There's so much that's just come out of here that I'd like to pick up on. So one would be the passion aspect, right? And I totally agree, especially nowadays, and especially I would say in the cloud space. If you can, it's attitude over aptitude. Is that the right saying?
Yes. Yep.
And I absolutely agree. Even in my job, I look for people when I'm trying to get engagement or push the Azure Stack portfolio within Dell, I look for those people who are open-minded, interested, excited about learning about something new, and I roll with that. And the more you serve those avenues, and then they grow. If I try and hit like the entire, if you think about it, Dell with its massive portfolio of things. Yep. If I try and get everyone on board, and I've been, I've got experience of that now because I've been there over a year, it doesn't work. What always works, I think, is finding those champions. And it's so true the other way when you're being interviewed. If you can show your passion for learning, your passion to always be learning, to be solving problems, connecting dots, etc., that will get you so far. Please, I want to tell people who are trying to get into tech or want to make that next move. Yes, certifications and all this kind of stuff are important. And definitely, like you said, try and carve out your own time to pursue that learning, whether your company supports it or not. But please, please, please just apply and speak to people for jobs. Like, what's the worst thing that could happen? You get a no, right? Or you speak to someone, you gain the experience of that type of interview, you maybe gain more information, you might still not get it, you've made a contact, you're in someone's contact book, etc. So I think passion is huge. And I think also, you don't need to do it. Like we had Mike on just in December, he describes himself as like a born technologist, but he also says that like outside of work, he's not doing this kind of stuff.
Right.
So, and that's the thing. There is literally space for all types of people. And I love your trying to angle your trying to combine your passion and your career. And that's really interesting to me because I've been told since like when I started that I'm very entrepreneurial. And the way I see it is that I think I am to an extent in that if you tell me you want to build a business or you want to get stuff done, and that it comes from working in like very small, like company with a very small number of people, like I can do that. Like I can
Yeah.
make that happen and I can move between different areas and sort
Yeah.
of do that. I never see myself as being the creative person that has the idea.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean? And I
Yeah.
think I had this similar sort of talk with myself beginning of the year. I was thinking to myself, how do I spend my time this year? Because 2020, I threw myself into everything because there was nothing else to do, right?
Right.
There was
Right.
nothing else to do. And I found that these podcasts I absolutely love. Like I get so much value and joy myself from them. And also helping out with Cloud Lunch and Learn.
Yep. Yep.
Like I'm so passionate about helping out that team.
Yeah.
So then I'm thinking, right, I'm going to need to set some limits to myself. I can't be churning out an episode probably every Friday anymore.
Right.
I want
Right.
to really help out the Cloud Lunch and Learn team. And I want to do this.
Yep.
Obviously work as well.
Yep.
You know? So I
Yeah.
think I might take some of what you've said there and think about what my 3 avenues are that I want to go down for the year. I think that's a really cool way of looking at it.
So I wanna kind of go back to something that you said, and I need to humbly disagree with you. You said that you're entrepreneurial, but you're not creating anything. I disagree. You've created a podcast. You've created a YouTube channel. You have, I saw you have a talk coming up soon. For
Yeah,
the
so that's going to be my first
yeah,
getting back into
yep,
talking. Yeah.
exactly. What else? You're helping out Cloud Lunch and Learn. You're doing all those sessions with them. So here's the common mistake that I see when people want to be entrepreneurs, and I feel like entrepreneur gets like such like a bad rap. Like you're an entrepreneur, you don't make any money and you have a $2,000 suit on. But no. So when you want to break out and do your own thing, that doesn't mean you have to create a product.
Yeah.
Like, oh wait, hold on. Actually, let me go back. You could create a product, but it doesn't mean that you have to create a piece of software. So for example, you're saying you're not creating anything, but maybe you might write an ebook on Azure Stack at Dell.
Yeah.
Maybe you might, I don't know, create a video course. You're still creating a product and you're still doing things. Like just because you're not writing software, it doesn't mean you're not creating something. I'm not writing software, but I'm writing software, but I'm not like selling a product for that software. I'm not writing like the next Twitter or something like that. So I would definitely kind of like flip that mindset a bit, because I feel like that mindset will hold you back.
Oh, absolutely. It definitely, like I can tell that it definitely does as well. And there is a massive, like the logical part of me, like for instance, if these tables were turned, I would do exactly the same to you. I am brilliant at picking out and helping other people sort of see their potential and sort of achieve their goals. But when it comes to myself, not so great. Have massively improved over the years, but still, but I'm aware kind of a bit more of the things that are holding me back. Which is why I think mentorship is so important, right? And that's the other thing as well. And I was thinking about this too. I love to help people. I mean, when I was at uni, everyone used to come to me for their advice, right? And like all my friends will tell you, work, relationships, career, I'm like there, let's solve it. I can like do that. And I think it's important to remember as well that mentorship, I don't need to be in a certain position, earning a certain money and be successful enough to mentor people. I can absolutely mentor people right now with the level of experience I have within my career and just being a female in tech, being a female, being a 33-year-old female. Like I had that experience. And it's funny as well, because we can link that back to being a personal trainer. Lots of personal trainers have personal trainers.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. All of, like, for example, you look at like the big bodybuilders like Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, all of these guys, they and all of the girls, all the females, everybody, they weren't just going to the gym and working out. Every single one of them has a trainer.
Yes.
They're not doing it themselves. They all have trainers.
Yep.
They know how to do it themselves, but at the end of the day, you need a trainer to get yourself to that point.
I know you need someone. because when you know what it's like when you're training for a competition or whatever, you can look at yourself and you don't see yourself.
Exactly.
You do not
100%.
see yourself. So you need someone to take that, to give you accountability, and also to take sort of planning off your hands, almost like helping you to create that like plan, and then checking back in with you and saying, we've set this course, our goal is over here. How are we doing? Do we need to course correct, etc.? And that's effectively what mentorship is.
Exactly.
I would assume.
Exactly. And I think the big thing about like mentorship too, and like having a mentorship, having an apprentice, training somebody, anything, it's one of those things, right? Where, you know, again, it goes back to like the personal training and stuff and just the bodybuilding in general, where if you looked at yourself then, you were like, I don't know, like my lats could have a little bit of work, like my bicep peak, not as good as I want. But now, like, you know, when I like look back at pictures from like 5-6 years ago, I'm like, dang, I looked kind of dope back then. I wish that I looked like that now. And it's the same thing with like development and stuff like that. Like right now, I constantly have imposter syndrome where I'm like, oh, I don't know this, I don't know that. But then I look back 5 years ago and I'm like, I didn't know 5% of what I know now. You know, so, and I think that's very important, like to be open and honest with yourself. You know, and that's really what like brought me to this decision, you know, is, you know, I sat down with myself at the end of 2020. I took a week and a half off. And I was like, why the heck am I so unhappy right now? Why are things just not, I got all this stuff, you know, I'm making good money. I own a house. I have a great son, you know, I got all this stuff. What's happening? You know, so I really sat down and I realized a few things. One, I can't tell you how many people reached out to me in 2020. They're like, oh, I don't know how you do all this. Yeah, I can't do all of it again in 2021 because I burned myself out really bad. Like I was so focused on like building the brand and doing this and doing that and getting all this stuff out there that I kind of forgot about myself. And, you know, and that's really where like the 3 key avenues come into play. It was like, I'm happy that I did what I did because I feel like, you know, I built a good following and I met a ton of great people. I mean, I would have never met you. I would have never met Gregor, Richard, Adam, Mike, everybody. I would have never met anybody unless I started doing this. So a lot of amazing things.
Family. Exactly. Family.
Exactly. Yes. I would have never met anybody there if I didn't do all of it. So it was really awesome. So I'm not complaining about it, but at the same time, I realized that I need to chill out. Because like I need to go to the gym. Like, you know, I like to wake up at 5 a.m. and I like to go to the gym. You know, I need
to leave my house. Like I need to exactly like walking and stuff.
Exactly.
Like, do you know what? I feel the same. I did so much in 2020 and I would never take it back because I met you. I've met everyone. I started this podcast. It mentally got me through the year. But me as myself, I put on a ton of weight, but not in a good way, right? I put on, I wasn't in the gym building muscle. No, I was on my couch watching Netflix, supporting the local takeaways. Like, and do you know what I've done? Because I almost like, I'm very an all or nothing person. So whatever I put myself into, it's all or nothing. And what happened was I put myself into all this stuff and this didn't even maintain like any good habits. It's like it's flat. Like if it was a battery, it's flat. Like there's nothing in that tank and there's nothing being put towards that area. And I'm the same. I need to think about how I'm going to use my time this year so that I'm also taking care of me as well.
Yes.
And it's so important. And I love how you said you took the time to think about, why am I sad? Why am I unhappy? So many people will try and cover over that. I need to be more busy. I need to avoid it even more. Like, you know, no, I think it's so important that if you feel unhappy, if you feel sad, first of all, it's okay. Freaking especially like it is okay. So many people, no matter what you see online, feel the same. I went through that in 2020. And you have to sit down you have to realize it's okay. You have to admit it to yourself, to anyone, write it down. And then you have to try and figure it out, what is making you sad, and what's making you unhappy. And, you know, sometimes a way to do that is look at things that make you genuinely happy, and are they mapping to what you're spending your time on?
Yeah. No, absolutely. And this is the whole thing is exactly like you said. I like Twitter, but I don't like social media. And because, you know, here's the thing, like I'll tweet, but like I'm never like posting like motivational stuff of like, hey, if you just put in this extra time, you'll be successful. I don't really do that. I post things about like things that like I've done, things that I've made, things that like kind of put me in the right mindset and stuff like that. So here's the thing that's crappy about social media is it makes you compare yourself to others. And it's awful. Like, don't compare yourself to others. Like, whoever's watching this, don't compare yourself to me. Don't compare yourself to anybody, because it's awful. It is such an awful way to get yourself in this mindset. The other thing too is that I feel like we kind of live in a world that, like, how can I put it? It's almost like you can't be soft. You know, it's like you gotta be hard all the time. Like, you know, you gotta be like, this is what I'm doing.
I'm grinding 24/7.
Exactly.
Like, I'm smashing life.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not the case. Like, I will humbly admit that, you know, there was a part of me that was very depressed in 2020. Like, and even in that week and a half that I was off, you know, I was looking up, like, you know, psychiatrists and psychologists in my area just for somebody to go and talk to about, like, hey, this is kind of what's going on. I'm not really sure why. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to go and you want to cry and you want to be like, man, this sucks. If you anything, like, I can't tell you how many times I would just sit on the couch and be like, you know, why do I feel this way? You know, who can I talk to about this? And I'm telling everybody out there, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with showing your emotion and sharing your emotion and understanding it. Because believe me, if you try to just do more stuff and dive it deeper like I did, it will just be 10 times worse. I promise you, it will be 10 times worse. Get it out there. Talk to somebody. If you have family, if you have friends, if you want to go pay to talk to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, do it. It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly natural. And I can guarantee you that 80% of the people that you're following on Twitter go do that grind, man. They're talking to somebody too. Their life isn't perfect. I promise.
Yeah. So I think you could say this more about things like Instagram, but I think what we try and show, social media is a filtered version of our life. We are showing, it's a highlight reel. It's the positives, right? So just like you just shared there, I can absolutely sympathize, because there was a time in 2020, and I don't think I've actually told anybody this. I kind of disappeared offline for a while. I was actually signed off my work. Now now for me, that is huge, because I love my work. I love to work. Like, it is, like you, maybe not as much, but I've always followed roles and opportunities that excite me, that I'm working with products that I love, right? And I got signed off work. There was a few things that happened that really took the wind out of my sails. And I think because of 2020, things were magnified, and it was so strange. I lost all faith in myself.
Right.
In my faith to, like, my judgment of people. It was awful. And throughout my lifetime, I've definitely suffered with, like, low moments. I describe it as like trying to keep my head above water, and not really managing to. That's the kind of feeling. But I've always managed to get myself out of it. Always. You know, I've always been good at that. In the summer in 2020, I couldn't get myself out of it. So I actually took, Kizzy is trying to scent this mug because it has ginger in it, and she loves this. If you hear that, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good.
But Dell actually are really great, and they've got a whole load of services. And I thought, you know what? I'm gonna take up the offer of, it's like anonymous counseling calls.
Right.
And I did not plan to tell anybody about this, but here we are. And I think it's important. Like, that's what I'm very much about.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm like fighting with her.
No, you're good. You're good.
So I took that up. So you call
Good.
up, it's anonymous. You kind of explain what you're feeling, you're going through it, and then they assign
your health insurance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I should actually do the same thing because I've been having an issue finding psychiatrists in the area because everybody's so busy. I completely forgot about that. I'm actually going to do that. I should do that. I need to look at my health insurance and do that for sure.
Definitely do it. And I think as well, throughout 2020, loads of places have got themselves geared up to do like online and phone call sessions. I have to show you this. I'm sorry. He's now rolling about on my desk. It's like you'd think it was catnip.
I know. She's crazy. Like, love me.
I'll be your therapy. So anyway, I took that up and I was assigned a lovely lady called Maggie, and I had eight sessions. And it was so funny because I had no idea what to do or what to say or how to use them. The first few calls were me thinking I didn't have a lot to say, shock horror, but speaking a lot. And it was so, I can't express how helpful it was.
Right.
I cannot express, like, we got to session 6 and she said to me, and it was around about the same, a few of my friends had actually said as well, they were like, we feel like we've got the old Lisa back. And she even said to me on the call, she was like, you sound so much more like positive and put together. And I honestly don't think I would have recovered that quickly had I not taken up that opportunity. So I just want to say to anyone, it's not only you. Social media is a highlight reel. Being vulnerable is powerful. Oh my God, I love talking about being vulnerable as being a strength. There's a lady called Brené Brown. She's from America. She's from Texas, I think. She has a lot of books about this topic and sort of she also uses this quote, and I always forget it. It's about being in the arena, and the people commenting on you are not in the arena. They are not in your world doing what you do, facing what you face, getting knocked down and getting up again every day to try and like get to where you want to be. So don't listen to those people. So I mean, this podcast, by the way, has gone right off tangent, but it's absolute fire.
Absolutely. I agree with you. And you know what? I definitely agree 100%. You know, I think a big reason of why we compare ourselves to others and why we maybe feel that we can't share and help people is also just because of like kind of like how you grow up and like how things like are in your life and all this. Like I could tell you, like for a long time I chased money because I thought it would buy me happiness. Because when I grew up, like I didn't really have parents, to be honest. You know, I grew up very poor. Like I didn't have a lot growing up at all. So when I hit 6 figures, I was like, oh snap, I'm going to be super happy now. And when I just started to like move up in the pay scale, I was like, oh, this next paycheck, that's what's going to make me happy. Oh, buying this thing, that's what's going to make me happy. Like I've done stupid things. Like I've went out and bought, you know, like, or leased cars and trucks and stuff that were, you know, $70,000 cars because I thought, that's what's going to make me happy. You know, or if I go out and, you know, I don't know, whatever, buy something, that's what's going to make me happy. And that was a big part of, you know, my whole recovery process in 2020 was extrinsic happiness versus intrinsic happiness. And for those of you who are listening that don't know the differences, extrinsic is when you go out and you buy things and you think that they're going to make you happy, and you know, you go out and you buy
external to yourself. So you're getting whether it's likes on Instagram, it's buying designer whatevers or like cars. That's extrinsic motivation. It can also be it doesn't need to be negative. You can genuinely get happiness and motivation from other people, or you know, but where it can quite often be those type of things.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. And you know, and it's like to give the scenario. No, you know, you go out and you buy this like $120 pair of Adidas, and you're like, oh man, this is what's gonna make me happy. I'm gonna look cool now. And then after like 3-4 days, you're like, oh, that's just a pair of shoes.
Yeah,
Same thing
it
with
goes
everything else
right
you
back
buy.
to zero, doesn't it? Like it doesn't
Exactly.
sustain. It doesn't
Yes, it does
sustain.
not sustain at all. So then what I started to realize was, all right, I need more intrinsic happiness. So intrinsic happiness are the things that keep you happy all of the time.
Yeah.
So for example, talking to people keeps me happy. My puppy keeps me happy. Going to the gym keeps me happy. The thing that didn't keep me happy was having a full-time job. I realized that I am not a full-time employee. I'm just not. Unless I really have to, I don't think I'll ever go back to being a full-time employee.
Hmm.
So quitting my job brought me that intrinsic happiness, because now I'm able to work on and focus what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know, I'm able to go and consult for who I want to consult for.
Mhm.
Now, granted, it's not always going to be like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to pick up something and, you know, just to do it, to put those cash reserves back in the bank and all that. You know, but yeah, like I now I'm on a path that I'm doing what makes me happy. Now, hopefully that path doesn't make me a hobo, but if it does, and you guys don't see me for a while, please come find me under a bridge somewhere because I need assistance.
And
But
give you a job.
yeah, then please give me a job. But you know, I'm kind of doing these things that it's like, for example, you know what? After this call, I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to take an hour and I'm going to go clean the house a little bit. You know, I want to, you know, hang out with my puppy for a little bit because she's already pissed off at me as is because she got
Yeah.
fixed. You know, so I want to kind of like go hang out with her and stuff a little bit, you know, and want to have some lunch and stuff. So these are all these things that like I'm doing for myself because like I am now I'm in control of my destiny. You know,
Mm.
I'm not working at a full-time job where they're like, you know what, you got to do 9 to 5.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not doing that anymore. I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just those things that like bring me happiness. You know, like for example, maybe last year I would make the mistake of, and this was a huge mistake on my part. I would make the mistake of, you know, like when I was with my son and stuff like that. I was always focused on other things. I was never giving him 100% of my attention, not purposely,
Yeah.
but because I was always thinking, you know, oh, what is this next thing? What am I going to do next? What am I working on?
Yeah.
This and that. And it's awful, you know, like you don't realize it. And they probably don't realize it, but I want to, you know, give my son, you know, 100% of that attention. You know, I don't want to be thinking about work all the time and
Yeah.
this and that and the next thing, you know what I mean? So yeah, you know, I want to really just those focus points. And I think that once you come to reality with yourself of the things that you're doing wrong, the things that you're doing right, and how to fix them, you're more at ease. You know,
Yeah.
nothing's ever going to be perfect. Life is never going to be perfect,
No.
but you're going to feel more level-headed for sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
And also when you pinpoint those focus areas, then what you need to do is you need to kind of be really strict with yourself. So if something comes along or distraction comes up or whatever, and it's
Yep.
not in those focus areas, you have to say no. And going
Yep.
back to happiness, right? Happiness is not a destination.
Yep.
Happy
No.
is something that you work at every day. And that
Yep.
you have to sit there. Like, do you know what's a really good thing to do? Is to sit down with a notepad and write about all the things that make you happy. Like
Yeah.
small things, where there's like phone call with so-and-so, Saturday morning coffee, reading a book, doing X, Y, and Z, whatever
Yep.
it is, have that like somewhere really easily accessible, and
Yep.
make sure that each week you're planning something like that into your week.
Yep.
Because happiness is not a destination. It's something you have to work at every day.
Yep.
And if you base happiness on a date or a thing, you will never achieve it.
It's true. It's true.
So you 110% do it. And for those people who, like myself, who are working for an employer, you have to really take I mean, I'm really, really lucky. I do not need to be stuck to my desk 9 to 5. I pretty much am these days. But as long as I get my work done, I'm connecting with
Doesn't
people
matter.
in all different time zones. So
Yep.
it's fine. But what I need to be really mindful of doing this year is planning my weeks and putting something in for me. You know,
Yep.
whether
I
it be
agree.
like these projects or the Cloud Lunch and Learn, or I started horse riding. And unfortunately with the lockdown, they've stopped, and I'm so annoyed, but I know 110% I'm going to put a lot of my time into that this year. And but you have to take ownership for it, right? Like no one's going to parent you. You have to parent yourself. So you almost have to be like you might make up a plan for one of your kids, like, you know, like school, nursery, like what you're going to do. You have to be like, you have to do that for yourself. Make sure you're getting your own play dates, you know, like make sure you're doing all the kind of stuff that you've got to look after yourself.
No, I absolutely agree. And it's even things that like, you know, these aren't things that you have to go and spend money on either. Like, for example, you know, my plan for, you know, I have my son this weekend, and, you know, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to the zoo and stuff. And, you know, I'll be honest, I'm actually scared to do things at this point, because I know like the US is just in awful shape with COVID and stuff. And, you know, they're probably going to have a lockdown pretty soon. So a part of me is like, I want to get him out of the house and do stuff. The other part of me is like, I don't know if I should. But if I do decide to do it, you know, I want to get out there. I want to do these things. And when he goes back to his mom's house Sunday night, I'm planning, you know, some time for myself where I have a new bottle of whiskey. I want to sit on the couch and I want to watch Hulu. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. You know what I mean? So I don't even have to spend money. Like I want to plan out that time.
Like exactly. Notifications. By the way, I don't have notifications on my phone. It's causing me a little bit of a problem right now, but it is a godsend. I no longer sleep with my phone in my room either.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Yeah.
You have to seriously, these things seem trivial and they seem hard to do, but you have to take responsibility for what you're choosing to consume, when you're scrolling, all these kind of things. You have to put boundaries in place.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And another great thing that you can do is delete Twitter off your phone for a few hours, delete LinkedIn off your phone for a few hours, and just leave it there. If you don't want to get any notifications and you're scared that like you're going to pick up your phone and look just out of habit, delete it off your phone. Reinstall it when you feel like it. That's all.
I was thinking about doing something similar for like Sundays no phone days or something.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I honestly feel like phones give us more depression. I really do. I think it does. You know, we're always looking for that extrinsic happiness. Did I get a notification? Is anybody friending me on LinkedIn? Did anybody like anything on my Instagram? Yeah, it's awful. It's such an awful time to live right now.
It's why you have to be so aware of it and its impact, and then
you really do
be responsible about it and put things like I've been consciously like on Instagram. I'm like, why did I follow this? Am I really that interested? And just being like, it like, no, you don't have any fear of missing anything out. Unfollow.
Yep, exactly.
You know, you have to like take responsibility for that. Anyway, we have spoken for a full 60 minutes, and it has been, you know, for the fear I felt, like I told you, I was nervous about this episode because it was the first one back in the year. And it's funny, anytime I take a break from these, and I think that's why I've not taken a break, because anytime I take a break, I get really nervous. I start to question myself. What are you doing? Who do you think you are? So many people have started YouTube and podcasts now. What's different about you? What do you don't have anything to add? And it's so then I'm like booking the next one, like publish. But I can't do that this year. So but this has been amazing.
Yeah. Well, for everybody out there that if you feel like you don't have anything to contribute, feel like everybody's doing what you're already thinking, blah, blah, blah. Don't feel like that. It's let me tell you something that I realized when creating content. The content that I create, it's not unique. I'm not doing something that nobody else has done. You know, the Azure courses and the DevOps courses and the cloud development course and stuff. When I'm talking about Python or Go, everybody else has talked about Python and Go already. The key thing is this: you are bringing your perspective. People want to watch your content for your perspective. Listen, you know, you look at huge YouTube channels like Network Chuck, almost 1 million subscribers. Network Chuck isn't talking about something that hasn't already been talked about before. He's putting it in his perspective. And that's what's very important. So if you want to help people Get out there and do it. I'm not saying you gotta, well, no, I'm actually telling you specifically, don't do this. Don't go and do videos, blogs, podcasts, YouTube, all this stuff. Don't do everything at first because you're going to burn yourself out and you're going to feel depressed. Pick one thing. You like writing, go start a blog. You like talking like this, start a podcast, start a YouTube channel, start small. Go out there, start helping people, start adding people on Twitter, add Lisa and I on Twitter, ask us questions, whatever. Just start it. If you want to start it, go ahead and do it, but don't feel like you got to just do it all at once. And please, please, please do not feel like you can't do it because everybody else is already doing it. Because guess what? I'll let you in on a little secret. Everybody that's creating content is creating content that's already out there.
Yeah. It's so true. So true. I can't express the amount of value that I have taken personally from doing this, and I have made so many friends. And then you've built your network, right? That you can go to and ask questions and get support and get different perspectives, and that's so important in this day and age.
So important. I agree 100%.
So if you have resonated with anything that we've spoken about today, like leave a comment. If you don't want to leave a comment, like reach out to me or Michael. Like we'd be really happy to talk to you about it. I'm so glad that we had this conversation. Just so you guys know, pretty much the last half of this talk, if not actually from after your tech career, was completely unplanned, right?
Yeah, no, I don't even think we wrote down any notes about any of this.
None at all. I'm like looking at my notes on my screen. I'm like, well, this is not what we've discussed. But again, this is why I love this. I try and never have it like it's never scripted anyway. It's like rough areas of discussion because this I think is it's valuable to me. I hope it's valuable to someone else.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like you said, Lisa, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out. I may not respond right away, but within 24 hours, I'll respond.
Yeah, I need to get better on my responding game. So bear with me because I am trying to get that balance of not having notifications,
right,
but still engaging with people. So I think I'm going to get to a point where I set like a regular amount of time just to reply to people. Yep. Not that I'm saying I get loads of messages or anything, but so happy New Year, everyone. Thanks so much for joining, Michael.
For sure.
Love this episode. Good luck in your new venture.
Thank you.
Cloud skills. I'm super excited for you. Like it sounds awesome. And I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
Absolutely. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.